So, we all know mRNA vaccines were a total game changer, right? But what if I told you that this incredible technology has a hidden flaw, a pretty basic delivery problem that's actually holding it back? Today, we're going to dive into a potential fix that could open up a whole new world for vaccines. I mean, think back to the COVID-19 vaccines. It felt like a miracle, right? Science moving at a speed we'd never, ever seen. And it wasn't just about one pandemic. It really felt like we finally had this powerful new blueprint to take on all sorts of things, maybe even diseases like cancer. But here's the twist. For all that success, some recent research has uncovered a pretty startling flaw. And it's not in the mRNA itself, it's in the delivery system. You know, the little package that carries the instructions into our bodies. Turns out it has this secret problem that might be holding the vaccines back, maybe even adding unnecessary risk. So, what's the problem? Well, it boils down to something almost comically simple, a delivery mistake, like a package getting sent to the wrong address. A huge chunk of these vaccines ends up in an organ that was never, ever the intended target, causing this massive overload. Okay, so to get how they fixed it, we first have to talk about the packaging. The traditional vaccine uses a delivery particle called a PEG-LNP. You can just think of that as the standard shipping box, right? The new system, the breakthrough we're talking about, uses a totally redesigned particle called an EB-LNP, and this thing is engineered to be way, way smarter. All right, here is the absolute key. When you get that shot in your arm, the whole point is for the vaccine to get to your immune system's HQ, your lymph nodes. But that's not what's been happening. Instead, a ton of those little vaccine packages get lost, misdirected, and they end up piling up in the liver. And sending the vaccine to the liver, well, it's not just a waste, it's actually risky. It can create a real danger of liver damage. The technical term is hepatotoxicity. It also means a big chunk of the vaccine dose is just gone, wasted, which forces drug makers to use higher and more frequent doses. For example, one of Moderna's cancer vaccines requires 9 high-dose shots. And on top of all that, it can kick off some really nasty, unwanted inflammation. So, how do you solve a major delivery problem like that? Well, scientists came up with this brilliantly clever solution. It's kind of like a biological hack, tricking the body into sending the vaccine exactly where it's supposed to go. And the key to this whole hack? A protein called albumin. Now, this stuff is everywhere. It's the most common protein in our lymphatic fluid, and you can think of it like the body's own high-speed transit system, a biological subway that is always running nonstop straight to the lymph nodes. It's basically the perfect chauffeur for a vaccine. And that was the big idea, the light bulb moment. What if you could redesign that vaccine package so that instead of getting lost and ending up in the liver, it could grab on, bind really tightly to albumin? Could it basically just hitchhike on this protein express train, getting a direct, nonstop ride straight to the immune system's command center? So, they had to put this brilliant idea to the test. And let me tell you, the results they got with this new approach are, well, they're just visually stunning. First up, they tracked the old, traditional vaccine in a mouse. They used a special tag that glows so they could see exactly where it went. And the result? Whoa. It was crystal clear. A big, bright glow concentrated right over the liver. This was the smoking gun, definitive proof of that delivery error, happening exactly where you don't want it. But then they injected the new vaccine. The one designed to hitchhike on albumin. And the picture just completely flipped. The glow over the liver? Gone, vanished. Instead, it lit up bright and clear, precisely in the lymph nodes. The package had finally arrived at the right address. And if you look at the numbers, they're just as dramatic. So 4 hours after the shot, the old vaccine is just flooding the liver. But with the new vaccine, liver accumulation is practically zero. Instead, all of that vaccine goodness is concentrated exactly where you want it, the lymph nodes. I mean, that's not just an improvement, that's a complete reversal of the entire delivery pattern. Okay, so the delivery system works. That's huge. But the real question is, does that actually make for a better vaccine? Let's check out the head-to-head results when they put it up against some really tough diseases. First, they went after cancer. They tested a vaccine against melanoma. Now, in the mice that got the old version of the vaccine, the tumors just grew like crazy, almost completely unchecked. But with the new, targeted vaccine, boom, tumor growth was stopped in its tracks, a dramatic halt. In fact, it gets even better. For the group of mice that got the high-dose version of the new vaccine, the result was, well, it was incredible. A 100% survival rate. It just goes to show you the power of getting the medicine to the right place. And this wasn't just a fluke. They tried it again in a different, notoriously difficult-to-treat cancer model linked to HPV. This time, they paired the new vaccine with an immunotherapy drug. The result, and I'm literally quoting from the study here, was complete tumor regression. The tumors were gone, wiped out, eradicated. Okay, so what about viruses, infectious diseases? You guessed it, it's the same story. They tested it against both H1N1 flu and the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And in both cases, the new vaccine was way more effective. It massively lowered the amount of virus in the lungs compared to the old one. It's just a flat-out, more powerful antiviral weapon. So let's zoom out. What does this all mean for the future? We're not talking about some minor tweak here. This really looks like it could be a fundamental leap forward for all vaccine technology. So let's just recap what this better platform gives us. It's safer because it avoids the liver. It's more targeted because it goes straight to the immune system's command center. It's way more potent against both cancer and viruses. And because it's so much more efficient, we might be able to use lower, safer doses down the line. It's a win-win-win-win. And you know, the researchers themselves are incredibly optimistic. They don't just see this as a simple improvement, they see it as a whole new platform. A promising alternative, they call it, with huge potential for things like universal flu shots or even the holy grail, personalized cancer vaccines. So it really seems that by fixing one single fundamental flaw, by just creating a better shot, we may have unlocked a whole new level of power for mRNA technology. And it really makes you wonder, right? With a smarter delivery system like this, what diseases that seem impossible today could we finally conquer next?